What up, everyone? So, I'm doing something I haven't done here in a very long time. A weekly roundup. The original plan I had when I started this channel was to do these on a weekly basis. But as you all know, I definitely haven't. Nothing but class. So, I want to start doing these on a weekly basis again. So, you may have noticed, or possibly not because I have a lot of videos that I'm editing right now, but as of right now, I'm officially caught up with the month of December. The boxes haven't finished coming, but I've done all the reviews on the boxes I have, which is an amazing thing. It is a Christmas fucking miracle because I've never been caught up. I haven't been caught up since, literally I don't think since the very first video I did. The very first video I posted was late the first time I posted and just got more and more late as time went on. I don't think I've ever been caught up. So this is a really special thing here. So now that I'm caught up, I've heard a lot of requests for different things on my channel. First of all, this is something I want to do, my weekly roundup, where I show you things that I've gotten from the week. Things that are not in boxes, things that I personally got that I want to show you guys that you may not know about. Because I constantly get questions about figures seen in the background all the time, like 10 times a day. So I just want to talk about them so you guys know and then just give you some info. You know, do some quick reviews on it, do some updates on the channel, give you guys some news, announce winners and things like that. So any contest winners, I'll do it on the weekly roundup. So I just wanted to try to make this a weekly thing and kind of update you guys on this. And also people have been requesting updated collection videos, like a collection of everything on the wall here. I've heard a lot of requests for art videos, more of my artwork, so I'm hoping to do that as well. The ones I already have, things I've purchased, things I've painted myself, maybe even do some new artwork. Possibly if there's enough interest, sell some of them. So I'm trying to just try out some things that I've been meaning to, I just have not had any time to. But thanks to the help of all my loyal subscribers and people that help out with the channel, I finally caught up with videos, I finally caught up with comments, and all that stuff, which is pretty incredible. I never thought I'd be here. So thank you to everyone that's made this channel what it is today and made that possible. From all the people that run my accounts, the people that help me out with YouTube. I genuinely appreciate it. So thank you for that. So now that I'm caught up, I can finally get to these kinds of things that people have been requesting. So, starting off, we're going to do our little weekly roundup here. And then, like I said, I'll talk about some things on the channel. And most of the reason I'm able to get caught up now is because the new way I've been doing unboxing videos. Unboxing them right there, because then I don't have to do work beforehand, so it makes it a little bit quicker. And a few people have said they like the way that I did videos before, which I kind of understand, but kind of not, because it should technically be the same. Everything I'm doing on my videos is the same, I'm just now starting the camera earlier. Instead of unboxing the video right before I record and then doing my video, I unbox it on camera and then continue with my process. So everything should be exactly the same, there's just more on the front end of it now, because my reviews, the things I talk about, the values I give, the research I do is all the same. Every video I take a short break and I do the exact same research I would have done had I not recorded the first part. So it's exactly the same, there's just a part added onto it. So, but again, this channel is all about you guys, so let me know what you guys think about it, because at the end of the day I'm here for you guys and I want to do what's going to make you guys happy, and that's it. I want to help out, so if you'd rather see me do something a certain way, just let me know. We'll talk about it. And now that I have time to respond to comments, we'll talk more about that. So let's get right on with this roundup, and I'm going to show you some cool shit I got this week. Drinking champagne out of Spider-Man's head. Something that probably no one else has done. Glad to be a part of it. So, things that I'm showing right now are things that I've gotten a while ago. Because like I said, I haven't done a weekly roundup in months. But hopefully I like to do this at least on a somewhat weekly basis. So some of it's going to be things I already have, and a lot of people requested a Christmas haul video, like things I've gotten from Christmas, which I will do, but I actually haven't had my Christmas yet. All the people I have Christmas with were out of town, so I'm having mine on New Year's, so that's when mine will be, and then I'll do a video after that, a weekly roundup, Christmas style, and then just kind of slowly go through the things I've gotten the past couple of months, and a lot of cool stuff. So, the first thing I want to start off with, one that I've been asked about a million times. At least once a day I get this same question. You can actually see them. I think you still can. These figures down. Can you see these? No, I don't think you can see them. Anyway, you've seen them in some of my videos. They're right off the screen here. They're the Eevee figures. They're little Eevee figures, and so many people have asked where I've gotten them. And for the most part, for most of the things, like location-wise where I get them, is almost always from eBay, especially foreign things. If it's anything out of the country, obviously it's online, but I'm always on eBay. For my personal experience, that's always the cheapest way to buy just about anything, honestly. So that's always where I get stuff. The name of these, they're obviously the evolution of Eevee, the different figures, but they're called Chibi Kunchara. And I'll display that at the bottom of the screen now because you're wondering how you spell that. So, I just wanted to get that out there because so many people have asked about it. They're really awesome figures. As I talk about things, I'll be showing short little videos, close-ups of everything there, so you can get a good look at them, but they're really awesome. I genuinely like them. So as far as a review, I think they're fantastic. The only problem is they're extremely expensive and very hard to come by. So they're not available in America anywhere, or at least anywhere I've seen. So eBay would be your only bet, and even still, you can't always find them. I'm actually missing one who I believe is Espeon, I think. So I'm still missing that one, which I'm trying to find. Even when you're looking for them, they're not always available, and even when they are, sometimes they're like 30 bucks a piece, if not more, so they're pretty pricey. I was lucky enough to catch an auction one time, but even still, I paid quite a bit on most of them. I think the cheapest one I got was like 10, and then they just kind of went up from there, but that was my only chance. I didn't want to pay 30 bucks a piece, but they're pretty pricey, so just know that. But they're very nice figures, very well done, good paint job, good sculpt, everything about them is quite fantastic. So, that's those. First off, just wanted to get that out there. So if anyone ever has questions, refer them to this video. Next, things I've gotten that are right behind me on this bottom level is some more Amiibo. So they've recently finally finished releasing all the characters from the Smash Brothers Amiibo, or at least all the original characters when the game was released. They finally did it, with the last one being Falco. And it is such a pain in the ass to get these figures. Less so now. Now that the hype's kind of over, now they're all pretty common, which is great and I'm really happy about, but it was a pain in the ass getting most of them. So the recent ones I've gotten were like Zero Suit Samus and Ganondorf, and I think Bowser Jr., and the few that were after that. And then the most recent two are Falco and Mewtwo. They have a few more coming out for the DLC characters, but those aren't coming out for... The probably won't finish coming out for another year. They take a really long time. But the original cast from when the game was released has fully been released. And I have, I think, all of them except for one, which was the Villager, which I've been meaning to go back and get. But I really like these figures. I like the sculpt on them, and the paint job is good for the most part. It's kind of like Funko, where when you go to the store, you kind of got to pick the best one, because the paint jobs are always a little bit off. The sculpt is the same, but the paint job is always a little askew, so not terrible, but, you know, it's not always perfect. So you got to do the best you can to get a good figure. Other than that, I really like them just because I love Smash Bros. Like, it's one of my favorite games ever, and this is pretty much the only merchandise that's offered for it. Since the first game, there's never been any merchandising for it, really, with the exception of a few crossover t-shirts here and there, but that's about it. As far as figures go and collectible stuff, this is pretty much it, and this is probably all there's ever going to be. So I wanted to make sure I got all of them over time. Luckily, they spread it out over time so you could collect them, because buying them all at once would be impossible, and finding half of them are extremely hard because they were rare, and I had to go to stores and wait up all night and be there at 4 a.m., so it was a huge pain in the ass, but, you know, I'm glad I got them. I like that I can put in a little more work to get something, like, more special. I think that's really cool. So those are the Smash Bros. Amiibo, so that's something else I picked up recently. Next, I picked up some Adventure Time, the Kidrobot figures, the large ones, the 6 and 8 inch ones. So I showed you one that I got at Comic-Con, and that was the Comic-Con exclusive with Cake and Monochromic Horn. And I got the regular versions that I wanted of Jake and Finn, where Jake's the jacket, and then Jake and Lady Rainicorn. So I think these were really cool figures. I'm a huge fan of Kidrobot, but you know, I don't think too many other people are. They're just not that popular. You rarely ever see them in monthly boxes or anything like that. They're just not really out there that much, which I'm surprised about, because Kidrobot's kind of the original. They're like one of the original vinyl figure creators, and they're one of the first people that did the blind figure box. They kind of started this all, and they still do awesome things. And the cool part that I love about Kidrobot is that most of their work is attached to artists. They always have artists that do their work that usually sign the bottom of them. Like, you guys see all my dunny over here. Those are all tied to individual artists, and their little signature or stamp is on the bottom of each one of their little feet. And I think that's cool that they actually have well-known artists come and do like vinyl figures for them. And I think that's so awesome. And I love Kidrobot, and they always do like bigger ones, like the ones I'm showing you. They're right above my head. They always do bigger versions of them that are really well designed. The paint job's always like perfect. They really put in some nice effort into it, and there's really nothing bad about them. You don't get one where paint jobs are bad and sculpts are bad. Like most companies, they always really do it top notch. They're usually a little bit more expensive. They're always a little bit more expensive than the average company like Funko and things like that, but I think it's merited. The fact that they have artists tied to it and they have quality tied to it, I think is really cool. So I wish there was more Kidrobot in general, just in comic stores, in these boxes, everywhere. And they have a bunch of cool series coming up, and I have more Kidrobot stuff to show as the video goes on, so I think they do really great stuff. So I hope to see more from them in the future. Next, I got a sculpture. Wasn't from Kidrobot, I don't believe, but something similar. This is by an artist, Andrew Bell, and this is called Can of Worms. And this is the stuff I like. It's just a vinyl figure. It's bigger. It's like 8 inches long and like 4 to 6 inches high. But it's just a nice vinyl sculpture. But done by a specific artist. His name's Andrew Bell. You've probably seen stuff from him. He's done a lot of work with Kidrobot. I have a different dunny that he designed, and he does a lot of vinyl stuff. He'll do sculptures and stuff like that. So people can buy his artwork that's more affordable because it's not made of nice material, so you can sell it for cheap and mass produce it, which I like. I like owning things that have artist names tied to it. As an artist, as an art collector, I appreciate that stuff. And I kind of hope that one day maybe Funko does the same thing. Funko always has the good franchises, but there's really no artist names tied to anything. They don't really get artists to design stuff. They kind of do it all in-house, which is fine. Not that they do a bad job or anything. They do fine. But I just would like them to do like special series here and there tied to that. I think that'd be cool. So that was that one. Next, I got some Dragon Ball figures from one of my favorite series called UDM, and it stands for Ultimate Deformed Mascot. Basically, they're just small Dragon Ball figures with really big heads. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This series is probably the best, like sculpt-wise, like quality-wise series in existence. They're very tiny. They're not even an inch tall. They're probably 3/4 of an inch tall. And the sculpt on them is immaculate. It's so great, and the paint job is perfect. Sometimes in their more recent series, they've had some of the paint jobs are a little bit off because I think their demand's getting higher, but I've been around with this series since the very first one they had, and this is like the 25th series that they've had come out, and the paint job is always like pretty much perfect considering how tiny it is and how perfectly they're sculpted. And it really just puts companies like Funko to shame when they do like such simple pop figures and they can't even stay in the lines, but they're like off by an entire inch. Meanwhile, companies like this are in there to the micrometer, and they mass produce these and still do a fantastic job. It's very impressive. So if anyone's interested in those, again, that's UDM, and you can find them all over eBay. The older series are going to be hard to find, but these recent ones, I got like 4 new ones since my last weekly roundup, and they do a really good job. So I got the ones from the recent Dragon Ball movie, and then some of the classic characters, but they're just really fantastic figures, and they're small, easy to display. I put them all on one shelf, and I think they're really great. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, definitely check them out. Alright, let's see what else we got. So, something from Funko I did get was the Conan O'Brien pop from San Diego Comic-Con. So this was given out to all the people that attended the recording of his show that was done in San Diego. And I was outside the building, so I know where it was in San Diego. But this was given out to all the guests there. And it was extremely hard to find. They had 4 different ones. A classic one, a Batman, I think a zombie, and like a Frankenstein one, I think. But yeah, extremely hard to find because I wanted the classic one. Because, you know, this is kind of a piece of history here. It's something not just from Funko that's rare and collectible and honestly worth a lot of money. It's something that was tied to a specific event. That the one time or one of the few times that Conan came down to San Diego, actually recorded his show. I would have loved if I could have been there because it would have had like an emotional connection to it as well. But, you know, unfortunately I can't. I wasn't able to go there. They don't let anyone in. But I got a piece of that, which I think is really cool. And also I would have loved one that was signed by him, but that costs like thousands of dollars. So I got this one, and it was extremely hard to get, so I'm pretty happy that I got that. But I did find one. Got it at a decent price. Can't remember how much, but wasn't cheap. But anyway, next, something from Titan. So a big fan of Titans. I got recently, they came out, or not recently, this was a while ago, but they came out with the Ghostbusters line of figures. They came out a little while before the San Diego Comic-Con. And I managed to get the Super Complete series. So, what does Super Complete mean? Basically, there's anytime a vinyl figure series comes out, there's a base set where it's all the commons. Or you get a complete set, which is all the commons plus the rare versions together. So that's the complete set, which I have. Then, the Super Complete set is the base set plus the rares plus the ones that are outside the series that you have to acquire elsewhere, which there are actually a few of them. So one of them was a Slimer, which was, where was that from? Can't remember now. Damn it. I think it was from another box exclusive. Can't remember where the Slimer was from, the glow-in-the-dark Slimer. But anyway, there was one that was exclusive to Comic-Con, which is the orange Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It was from the Titans booth, so I actually got to go there, meet the people that make the figures that are behind the company. Really nice people. They're from Europe, I believe. So I got to meet them, and I got that exclusive figure. And then there's another Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that's glow-in-the-dark, I believe, that he was not only exclusive to Comic-Con, also exclusive to Loot Crate from Comic-Con. So you had to be at Comic-Con, you had to go to Loot Crate, you had to get a specific crate from Loot Crate at Comic-Con to get that figure. So huge pain in the ass. But anyway, I went through and collected all those, and I got the complete series. Now, normally it'd be really hard to even get the complete base set because these figures are expensive. Even the cheapest of blind boxes for Titans, they're going to be about $10, if not more. I was extremely lucky and found someone on eBay that had the complete set, and he only wanted like $100 for it. So it sounds like a lot to spend on figures, but considering that there was like 16 figures there, like even if they were $10 a piece, that's at least $160. Not to mention that some of them are rare, like 1 of 40, so some of those figures individually sell for like $30. So when you do the math, the series is probably worth $250, and the guy only wanted $100 for it, so I jumped on that really quick, and they sold almost immediately. I just got super lucky. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got it, and I wouldn't have even tried for it because it just would have been too expensive to go through and buy them individually and then try to collect those, because I probably would have spent more than $250, probably like $300 trying to get that series, and it just wouldn't have been worth the effort. But these figures are really cool in classic Titan style. They have the detailed face with the basic body, and Titans just kind of seems to stick towards sci-fi. It seems to either be sci-fi TV or sci-fi movies, and that seems to always be the case. Why? I'm not sure. I feel like they should open it up to more franchises, like do some superhero stuff, do some fantasy stuff, do some like legitimate other, like do some horror stuff, do some cartoon stuff. I don't care. I just feel like they shouldn't limit themselves so much. So there's only a few series from Titans that I've liked, this being one of them because I like Ghostbusters. Most other sci-fi stuff I'm just not that into, so this is one of the few series that I actually collected, but I think it's a really good one, so I liked it. So I got the Super Complete series of that, and I actually just found out today that there's one more exclusive that was at New York Comic Con, so I gotta go pick up that one, so now I can have an Ultra Complete series, but I'll get around to that soon. So, next, we got a figure, a Deadpool figure. Now, I'm actually not sure what to call this because it was from Japan. He's really cool looking. I'm showing pictures and videos of him right now. Very cool looking figure. He's just off here to my left. And he didn't really have a name. The box was in Japanese and he was kind of hard to find. If I can find the description on eBay, I'll try to post it on here. But there really wasn't any special name for it or any special company tied to it, which I thought was so weird. I came across it randomly through like a related search of something I bought and just found it that way. He was only $30, it wasn't expensive, but he was from China, so some Chinese company of some name and some title. What it is, I don't know, but that's just kind of where it came from. And again, if I find any info, I'll let you guys know, but thought it was a really cool figure, and I like that it's something different. It's not like the classic Pop or Titans or Kidrobot or anything like that. Something a little bit different that's just kind of on its own that probably not a lot of people have, or honestly, people watching this, you've probably even never seen this figure. So this is why I like to do these videos, because I'm really good at finding this random shit, so I like to share it with you guys, because maybe you want the same thing, and chances are, you're never going to come across that figure just on your own. It's just, I don't know how I even did. So if anyone's interested, I'll try to give more info on that as I try to go back through my eBay history. So there's that figure. Next, something else that was from China, a Jack Skellington figure. They actually have a few different series of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff in like China and Japan. I guess it's pretty popular over there. I had no idea that it was, but I guess it is. So I got this one figure here, much like the Deadpool one. It's just kind of a standalone figure. They have a few other variants of this one. One where he's like got a guitar and he's like rocking out. This one he's got like a nice mallet, and it's just a cool figure. It's just like a PVC figure. And yeah, I don't think this one had a specific title to it anyway. Just like search Jack Skellington PVC figure and do the region China, and then you'll probably find one similar to it. I don't know if they're still available. When I purchased it, there was only one that I saw. So again, somewhat rare, but I'm sure there are more out there if you like put in some research to it. And again, if I can find any more info on it, I'll try to put it in the description. But there really wasn't much on there. Again, some of these things just pop up because I'm just on eBay all the time, and sometimes I'll go to someone's selling account and see what else they're selling, and these things just show up. So I'll try to give more info on that as it comes. Next, something from Kidrobot. They did a whole Mega Man series, and they did 3 different sizes, which they usually are one to do. They'll do keychain versions, they'll do like the regular 3-inch versions, and they'll usually do like special, like large 6-inch to 8-inch ones, just like they did with Adventure Time. And I'm never a fan of the medium 3-inch ones because I just feel like they're too big, they're too bulky. Just barely though. And the keychain ones are fine, but again a little too small. I wish they would shrink down or increase one or something like that, because the 3-inch ones are just too big. It's too hard to display. They don't fit on my classic little wood shelves here. I gotta buy a separate shelf to like display them. It's just too difficult. So I do like the big ones though, because I'm okay with putting their own shelf for something that large. But anyway, I got these 2 Mega Man figures, 2 variants. One's the classic one, and I believe one was an exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con. They cost about $50 each, and they're not really rare at all, even the San Diego Comic-Con one, so you probably wouldn't have any trouble finding each of them for around that price. But good quality figures. I think I'm a huge fan of Mega Man, so I'm glad I could get something from that series to display, and I really like them both. So, Mega Man, there we go. Then, got some of the, like I was just talking about, Kidrobot Mini, so the ones you always see off to my shoulder here, if it's displaying in the camera, if I'm not pointing too far. So I got a whole bunch of series. So I had the Ninja Turtles ones from before, and the DC ones, but I picked up the Mega Man and the Adventure Time ones. Because like I said, they had 3-inch versions of all of those series, but I just didn't like them as much. They're too big, and they're not that detailed. So the keychain versions of them have about as much detail as the 3-inch versions. They don't get really high in quality on those versions. So it's like, why am I going to spend a bunch of extra money and try so much harder to find bigger figures when they don't really look any better than the keychain ones? Because the big versions of the figures are like $12.50 a piece, and then they have rare ones. If you wanted to buy a box of them, it's like $2.50, and it's like, the quality's not good enough to merit spending that much more. The keychain ones, however, are usually like $5 a piece. You can get a whole box of like 24 of them for like $100 or less, and then there's only usually 12 in a series, so you take half the box, take the ones you need, sell the other half, and you end up only paying a couple bucks a piece for them. And they're really nice too. I like the quality of them. Like I said, Kidrobot always does a good job. The paint job's nice, the sculpt is nice. They're pretty basic in their style, but that's obviously intentional. They're not supposed to be mega highly detailed or anything like that. They're supposed to be simplistic, much like the 3-inch versions of them all. So I'm a big fan of those. They fit perfectly on my little shelf. They stack up nicely, so I really like that. And they have a series coming out, or that just came out, the Looney Tunes version of them, and I'm going to pick up those keychains as well because I think they're cool. And maybe some of the 3-inch ones, because they are actually different for the first time. They have variants of all the characters in the 3-inch version, so I might get a few of those, but not the whole series because it just takes up too much space. So I'm always happy when they release the keychain size ones or the big ones, either a full shelf or a tiny shelf. So I like the top and bottom, but not the in-between so much. So yeah, so I like that. You guys can let me know what you think of that as well. Hopefully I'll see the Looney Tunes series in the near future. Alright, we are almost done with this video. Got a few more things to go through. I know it's crazy long, but I haven't done this in so long. I got a lot of stuff backed up. So, I've been getting some old school Spawn figures, the classic Todd McFarlane ones. I got one here that I'll be showing, and I've picked up a few other that I haven't taken out of the package yet, but I'll show those on a later weekly roundup. I've always been a huge fan of Todd McFarlane, everything he does, especially the toy line he did with Spawn. He was like the original person, the original company to do high-grade sculpture-type figures and sell them as action figures. He was the first company to do that. Before making detailed action figures was a thing, because when I was a kid, they all looked really stupid and cartoony. They all still looked very much like they did in the 70s, where it was very basic, they had very stiff bodies, much like the reaction figures from Funko, which I think I have one sitting around here, yeah. So even in the 90s and stuff, in the 80s, they all pretty much looked like this. They were just very basic. You know, it was fun as a kid to play with, but there was never any detail, and there was never anything pushing these companies to be more detailed. Then steps in Todd McFarlane, and you know, he started out the same way, very basic in the style, but his company grew so quickly, and it was such a popular franchise, that he really pushed the limits of it, and they started getting more and more detailed. And to the point where their action figures, I do that in quotes because they were action figures, but they weren't. They were sold on cardboard, like just like action figures are, but they weren't action figures because they were sculptures at that point, and they were made out of vinyl, and they were like the first company to do that. So you bought action figures as toys, but they really were display pieces because they didn't move at all. And as I grew through my childhood, I learned to appreciate that more, and I thought it was fantastic. Even by today's standards, these action figures from 10 years ago are still quite immaculate to the standards of any action figure today. So I've gone back and tried to find some of the old ones that I could never afford as a kid. They weren't expensive, they were like 10 or 15 bucks a piece, but you know, as like a 10-year-old, I couldn't afford that. So I've gone back to find some, and they really haven't gone up in price at all. A few of them are rare, but most of them you can still find for probably like 20, 25 bucks after shipping because they're heavy. But yeah, it really wasn't hard to find a lot of them. I think I got this one that I showed for like 10 or 15 bucks. It wasn't hard at all. And they're really quite nice. I decided to take it out of the packaging because I don't think they're ever going to be rare. And I don't think they're ever really going to increase in value, for at least not for another like 10 years or something like that. So I like it much more as a displayable sculpture. And it is really nice. And I think that's the image from like number 8 or something like that. I can't remember which issue it's from. But it's a series where they were recreating the classic covers from Spawn. It's really cool, and Todd McFarlane's done that. He did the same thing with movie posters, so you might see some more of his old stuff on some more weekly roundups, because he really did fantastic, and I'm bummed he stopped doing them. For some reason he just stopped. I guess interest stopped, but he should really bring it back because he did a fantastic job. They still do toys, but few and far between, and the series they pick are it's not that great a lot of the time, but hopefully if he finishes the new Spawn movie, hopefully it does come out, and hopefully that brings Spawn back into popular culture, because he's my favorite superhero, and he always has been, and he just needs a comeback now. He's died off, it's in the dark ages, he just needs a comeback, just like Ninja Turtles did, just like Transformers did, just like G.I. Joe did. There's a dark period where they disappeared, and then a movie comes out, and now they're back in pop culture, and now they're just all over the place. So I hope Spawn does the same thing so he can live on forever, because he's the coolest, and I love him. Anyway, next, something else from Kidrobot, from a guy named Ron English. So he's done tons of stuff with Kidrobot, a very well-known artist. He's kind of like a anti-artist, kind of into like the Dadaism type of thing. So he does like a lot of anti-political artwork, a lot of anti-establishment artwork. Very well-known in the art community. If any of you artists are out there, you know who I'm talking about. I actually saw him when I went to Funko Fun Days. He was just there hanging out because he does a lot of sculptures and does a lot of vinyl figures, but he did a small version of what I'm showing you of the Dunny that was very popular, so they ended up doing a 12-inch version of it, and it's really cool. It's of Mickey Mouse, and he does this classic like evil skeleton grin with it. He did the same thing with The Simpsons. They did figures of that recently. So they did this Dunny that looks like Mickey, and they had 2 versions of it when you ordered it. Now these were, I think, $100 a piece, I think something like that, or $75. They're expensive basically, because it's very well done and it's tied to an artist. And they had an alternate version that was rare. It's like 1 of 6 or something like that, so randomly people would get that when they order. I was lucky enough to get one of the rare ones the first time I ordered, so I just ordered another one, got the plain version, ended up getting them both, which I'm pretty happy with. So got the alternate paint job and the original one. But Ron English, really great guy, does awesome sculptures. He's worked with a bunch of different companies, especially Kidrobot. So if you don't know who he is, check him out. I'm sure you've seen some of his art at some point. but you probably just didn't realize who it was. So Google him. I'm sure you'll recognize at least one thing from him. Fantastic guy. I'm glad to own something by him. If I run into him again, I hope I can get him to sign one, but, you know, that's just me hoping. Alright, next, I got these Jack Skellington figures, also from China, and I think these are called Chibi figures as well, which I think Chibi in, I think it's Chinese and maybe Japanese, but basically it just means like big head, small body, essentially. I'm not sure what the exact translation is. Someone on the channel knows, they'll comment. But that's usually what it is. The Dragon Ball ones are Chibi, the Eevees are Chibi, these Jack Skellingtons are Chibi, big head, small body. But this series is really cool, and I don't know why it's so popular in Asia, but apparently it is. So they've done a few really cool things here, like much cooler than anything we've seen here in America. We have a lot of stuff from Nightmare Before Christmas here in America, but not a lot of great figures. They've tried a lot of times, but never really hit it home super well. The best, like, the closest they've done is like the Funko ones, the Mystery Minis, and even those were just okay. But these ones are really great. They really captured like Jack Skellington, and they really had a good style to it. And I've shown these before. You've seen them in my videos before. I had 3 of them, but I got 2 more that they just released, and there's 1 more that's going to be coming. I really like this series. They've done a fantastic job here, and I hope they release more, and maybe even do more series, because they did a great job. So these, again, are from China, and just search like Jack Skellington, like Chibi or something like that. They're the same as the Eevee, so search Chibi Kunchara. I'm sure you'll be able to find it pretty easily. The original 3 I don't think are sold anymore, but the most recent 2, you can find them pretty cheap, probably around 15 bucks a piece, which isn't too bad considering what it is. They all each come in their own box, like a display window box, so you can keep it in the package if you like, but they really display quite nicely, and they come with their own stand, so very great series. So anyone that's a fan of Nightmare Before Christmas would absolutely love them. Next, and the last item on my list, at least for this video, is more Nendoroid figures. I'm a big fan of these Nendoroid figures. So much like most of the things I have, they have big heads and little bodies. But Nendoroid is a company, or a line that, it's by the Good Smile Company. It's a series that they do where it's basically opposable figures, but they're still figures. So they're, I guess, not opposable because they don't move, but they're basically a figure of a character, and they come with all kinds of different attachments. So they're a statue in essence, they're a still figure, but you switch out the body parts to put them in different poses and make them have different expressions. I've shown these many times on my weekly roundup before. I have Snake and Link, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Pokemon, Ash from the Pokemon show. So I've gotten a lot of them. The new ones I got are from Mario. So I actually showed Luigi in a previous video, but Mario was just released, and he came with this nice background, so now I can put them all together. And they each come with their own things, like Luigi came with the warp pipe, Mario came with the blocks with the coins, and he came with Boo, so I got this whole setup here. And they come with all kinds of different attachments, so different faces, like one's smiling, one's sad, one's excited, and different shapes of arms so they can be holding things. So there's tons of poses you can put them in, but basically when you decide on one, you set them up, and it's like a still thing. So they don't have joints per se, but they still look like they were made in whatever pose you put them in. So I'm a big fan of the Nendoroid figures, and there's many, many more coming out. They have a lot of franchises they partnered with, most of which are Japanese or Chinese, like anime and things like that. So anyone who is a fan of anime would probably recognize most of the figures, but every once in a while they do a cool American one, like the ones I have, and I've been meaning, they just released a Star Wars one with Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper, which looks so awesome, and I've been meaning to get them, but just haven't had the money. They're around 50 bucks a piece after shipping and stuff like that, so just assume they're going to be around that price. And they also have a Mega Man one coming up in, I think, January, which looks super cool. I really want that one. And they have tons of series coming up. Kirby's another one. But every month they release a whole new line of them, each individual, and they're very well done, well sculpted, and they look adorable. So they're a really cool series, and I think most people like them. So if you haven't checked them out, go to just Google Nendoroid and look at their website. They'll show you on the front page every figure they have, released by date each month that they come out with. So they put out a bunch of them each month. So check it out and see if you can find some at a good price, because they really are cool. I really enjoy them. So anyway, that's been all the things I've gotten recently, like somewhat recently, but I got a lot more to come. I have so many series that I picked up, new stuff from Funko, all the mystery minis, sci-fi and horror, a bunch of pop figures that I picked up from Hot Topic and stuff lately, stuff from my Black Friday trips, and then I got Christmas stuff coming up, so believe me, I've got tons of new stuff for you to see. Most of which you've probably already seen, but a few things here and there that I guarantee you've never seen before in your life. So if you're interested in seeing new types of figures and collecting new stuff, definitely tune into more of these weekly roundups because you'll be surprised in some of the stuff I find. Anyway, yeah, so each time I do these videos, like I said, I'll do updates on the channel and just give you updates on how everything's going. Hopefully I can keep up with this. Hopefully I don't get behind again. But this is the time where I want to talk about the channel. So any comments you have, questions you have, if you want to do Q&A, please ask them on these videos. Things you'd like to see in the videos, things you'd like me to change, things you like about them, whatever. Like, let's just have it out in the comments and you can tell me all about it and I'll respond to them. And again, like I said, I'll change things around for you guys. Whatever you want to see, I'll make it happen with the best of my power. And again, anytime there's going to be giveaways and stuff like that, I'll announce it here. I also have an unboxing that I have to do from Dan Kramer, which I'll do probably on the next weekly roundup because he sent that to me so long ago and I've been meaning to do that, so stay tuned and I'll do that for you. Until next time, I'll see you guys next week. I hope you enjoy more unboxings in the meantime and see you guys soon. So, love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace.